when I was younger, I went to the spiritual store and my friends were like, "Oh, go see the psychic." But when I got to reading from her, she kept talking about all these negative things and saying like how men are evil and they're not good people. And I thought this was really strange. So when I was done, I went to see the owner and I was like, "Something's wrong with this lady." And she's like, "Yeah, don't mind her. She's going through a divorce." And don't worry about her. But later on, when I started doing readings for the public, it reminded me of that time. And I kept a note of it to make sure we heal ourselves from our past trauma or that we're able to let go before doing a reading so that we're in a good space. Because if not, we're going to be telling them what we want to tell them and try to control the reading of maybe what we went through versus what they're supposed to receive as a message. And sometimes our beliefs are so strong that it comes through even more. So the first thing is we should always look at our past and heal from it. The next thing you want to think about is our intention. We want to make sure that we're coming from a space where we really want to help somebody. Not to prove anything, but to really want to help the person that's sitting in front of us. At the same time, if they're not asking a specific question, we don't want to just volunteer and say anything. We want to make sure that it's something they want to know because they might not want to know something, or maybe our frequencies don't match up, so they don't want to ask a question. But the third thing that's important is to come from our heart and to open our heart chakra. We always talk about how all our chakras should be open when we're getting into psychic development and how our crown and third eye is so important. But our heart is also important. It's actually one of the most important because when your heart is open, your connection with the person becomes stronger. You're allowing the person into your aura. And you can tap into their emotions and know what they're feeling and know what they're going through. So when you deliver the message, it's easier to guide them. It's almost like if you're a massage therapist, you're not going to just like massage them really fast or go to the points really fast. You're going to slowly go in and ease into the energy so that they're not shocked. So these are the 3 things that I'm going to talk about. So there was this time in my life when I was working at a place and I wasn't really happy there. And I felt like they didn't treat me right. And I felt like everybody was picking on me and I didn't belong. And when I left that place, I had like nightmares for like a while of me telling everybody off and yelling at everybody and telling my boss how I really felt. And so if you think about it, if I had that kind of dreams after working there, and I had these dreams for like 6 months later, can you imagine how much energy of negative emotion that was actually stored in my body? That's a lot. And when you leave something like that, it's actually kind of like a relationship because you're investing so much emotion into a place. And sometimes time is the only thing that can heal. It sounds kind of cheesy, but in reality, sometimes it takes that long for things to process out of you. But we do have some things that can guide you through it as well, but it still will take some time. But can you also imagine how I would be if I did readings during that time? How I would be so angry at my boss and all these people, and then I would be doing readings with that, holding on to that anger. My readings probably wouldn't come out the same. I would probably be just like that lady I talked about in the beginning, saying a lot of negative things about life. The reason why we also have to take a look at what we went through and to let go of all these emotions is because I look at our bodies like we're crystals. We store energy. We hold on to emotions and feelings. Sometimes we don't know that it's still there, but it affects us in so many ways. And you can tell because of the things we manifest into our lives. Because like a crystal, we amplify this emotion. We amplify this energy that we hold on to. So we're going to attract the same kind of feelings. So before, when I used to see people and I talk to them, say they're having a good day and they're like, "Oh, today I'm doing so good. And all these things went my way and I'm so happy." But I hear this underlying tone in their voice that sounds like to me like they're angry. And I was trying to figure out why. Why do I pick that up? Because they're telling me they're having a good day. They're telling me they're happy. And I know they are, but I feel this anger underneath. And I feel this like aggression underneath, and I'm trying to figure out what that is. And for a long time I was trying to figure that out, and then I realized that they were actually having a happy day, but the only reason why I could feel that aggression is because it's some kind of emotion that is stored in their body from long ago. So in other words, even if that they're having a good day and they're happy today, I can still pick up that feeling from their past that is stored. So it comes out through their voice, through their energy. But it was actually the way they were brought up. Their family was abusive. So I was picking up the same energy, but 20 years later. So, that just goes to show that we hold on to these emotions and it's still there. The feelings are still there. And you could still be attracting that same kind of vibe and that same kind of people because you never really healed from that. And especially if you're doing any kind of energy work and readings for that matter, you want to make sure that you kind of clear that as much as possible. Nobody's perfect. We all have problems and we all have our insecurities. And I go through mine daily, but still we have to at least have something to guide us and something to help us get through it. Because if we keep it in and we hold on to it, it's still going to be there. It's almost like, for example, if you go into a refrigerator and you see all this good food, and then you smell something that smells weird, and then you dig through the refrigerator and then you look at the bottom and then you see this food that's been there for days that people forgot about. Even if the food on the top shelf looks really delicious and good to eat, they still have that food on the bottom shelf. So the refrigerator is still smelling weird. And what do you think that's going to attract, So that's why healing from our past is very important, because you don't want to hold on to that energy. Sometimes we can get into doing manifestations and doing all these different things, but they're not working because there's still some stuff from our past that we have to look at and we have to release. Because if not, we're not a clear, open channel to manifest anything new. And when we do readings for people, we also want to make sure that we're an open and clear channel so we can do the reading. If not, we'll still have that underlying energy or emotion of sadness or depression or anger, and it'll come across in our readings as well. It'll also make our perspective on life very different, so it'll be harder to bring in a clear channel. I once did a talk for a group of people, and this guy came up to me and he says, "Are you going to tell me to let go of my emotions and to heal myself? Because if you are, you got to tell me how. Because I went to all these different people and they all told me the same thing. Oh, you got to let this go. You got to heal from your past." And then they walk away, but they don't tell me how. So what's the point? So then I asked him, I said, okay, what are you doing to heal or to try to heal? And he said he's doing meditations. He said, I can't do it. Every time I meditate, I bring up all these emotions and all these things. And he says, I can't keep a clear mind. So I just figure, forget it. And I said, well, then that's the problem. And he said, what? What's the problem? And I said, you're supposed to feel these emotions. You're not supposed to push these emotions down. See, when I was doing meditations long ago, I always thought the same thing. When I read all these books, they say, oh, get into a space of clear mind, go through these guided meditations, and that's all good and all, but some people have to take that first step to get to that place first. To get there, they might need a stepping stone, but the stepping stone is to follow through on healing their past, to see what comes up, to see what arises, to embrace what arises. Instead, he was pushing it all down. So I told him to do a golden lotus meditation. I said, the lotus sits in the mud, and when it's ready to let go, it rises. So I told him, just sit in the mud. I said, sit in the mud, think of all the things that affect you, that irritated you, that got to you, that you're ashamed of, that made you mad, that you never told anyone else. These are the things that you want to work on. The things that you're trying to avoid and let go of, the secrets, all these different things. You want to sit in the mud and feel them, understand them, relive them if you have to. Cry, get mad, get angry, and just let it all go. Give yourself permission to let it go. That's the key thing. We never give ourselves permission. We keep thinking, oh, this is wrong, this is bad. We're supposed to meditate, keep a clear mind. But what we have to do is let it go. We have to allow ourselves to say, hey, we can get pissed off. Let's get mad today. Let's cry today. Let's be unhappy today. We can embrace that and allow it to happen. So this meditation does that for you. It allows you to do that. You're letting yourself heal. You sit in the mud and you relive all of this and you cry if you have to. And when it's all gone and when it's all done with, You want to visualize gold light coming into your crown through your whole body, throughout the whole room, with the intention that it's lifting off any negative energy. And then he told me, oh, great. After I do that, will it be done? Will it be finished? I'm like, no, it's not going to be finished yet. You're going to do it again and again until it doesn't affect you anymore. Or when it arises, you don't even care. And then I told him, and the last thing, it still takes time. Regardless if you do this meditation or not, it's still going to take time because time heals. Sometimes you have to process everything. Sometimes you need space. You need space between this time to heal so that you can clear your mind, so you allow yourself that time to process it. After he was so happy and he left, and I was kind of like, that's strange. He's happy to do a meditation that makes him feel like crap, but actually it works. So I'm glad I told him this though, because nobody ever told me this. And I used to think, wow, meditation is supposed to keep a clear mind. And I used to think, what am I doing wrong? And just like him, I felt like, no sense, do it. And for me, I never had a lot of trauma growing up. But can you imagine, for me, it took me about maybe a year and a half. I really immersed into meditation. I did like maybe 3 hours a day. I had a lot of time then. But anyway, I did about 3 hours a day. And I got to a point where, there's times where I cried at night. I got angry. I was happy. I get sad again. And I would be like, what the hell's going on? But you know what? The reason why I'm telling you this is because for me, for someone who never had a lot of trauma growing up, it took me about a year and 3 hours a day to release a lot of these things. Can you imagine people that actually went through traumatic events? So that's why I say sometimes it takes time. We all think, oh yeah, let's do readings. It's going to be fun. And it is fun. But if you're going to be doing this for other people, if you're going to be sharing this with other people, you also want to make sure that you're in a good space. So when you get a chance, try and do this golden lotus meditation where you sit in the mud, you think of all these negative things, you relive it, you release, and you let go. And if you want to see a whole video on the golden lotus meditation, I also have it on my Patreon account, which will be in the details below. But with it or without using the Patreon account, you can still do it from what I already explained to you as well.